Disclaimer. The audio content you are about to consume contains spoilers for Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey and Game of Thrones, First Season, Episodes 3 and 4, and contains material some might not view suitable for a workplace environment. And now, with reservations aside, welcome to the culture.
What are you doing right
I'm
now?
trying to calculate what you just said, because you just said, I believe Hitler was a real person and he had real ideas. And
When people think about Hitler, it's not so much of
what I'm stumped at is you literally said
We really got caught on Hitler.
he had real
Listen,
ideas.
man, English is not my first language.
Schmitty, no,
It's,
I'm conflicted with the statement.
Xbox is your
Hitler
first
had
language.
real ideas and he was right. It was literally a sentence you just said.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that.
That's why I started doing it. I'm like, Schmitty.
Oh no! Hitler got us.
Hitler wasn't wrong.
That's what it sounds like.
Oh boy.
No.
Well,
Let's
as I mentioned before, I am in charge of editing this, so I'm glad I caught that early.
Let's not go down that road.
Yeah, Infinity
I'm
War
just
was last
saying-
week. We don't need to spoil it again and again and again. But we've been talking about superheroes forever, and this is not about superheroes. This is about monkeys and robots.
Monkeys in space. Monkeys in space.
So,
and evolution.
yeah, I was about to say. Well, as always, we are your hosts. I am Alex
Jeez.
Vogelfritz.
That took us literally 19 minutes to get to that.
That's okay. I am Schmidt, the Brick Wall Smith.
Yeah, and it's hi.
Orvis, more Neanderthal than most. Collins.
Speaking of which, so how'd you like your starring role in this film, Orvis?
Ooh, that was it.
I have been holding that in
I knew
this
you
whole
had.
time.
I knew you
For like
had.
4 days.
I saw it in your eyes when we started watching the movie. I saw that joke.
For those of you that are listening, Fogel started punching the air in victory.
I'm really proud of myself for holding that joke in, guys.
Yeah.
Let's hold on, because I took a lot of notes this week.
You
so we
took,
can,
like-
You did take a lot of notes.
I wanted to make sure we didn't hurt for content.
We're absolutely going to miss details. We just spent 20 minutes talking about Infinity War again.
It's a good movie.
That was my in defense of.
Yes. I feel like this is going to become recurring, and I'm going to have to keep defending myself.
Every single episode, we're talking about
one of
Thanos'
the-
psychology and Infinity War.
Once again, they just got to get the Trident of Poseidon, but
Yeah.
I actually said in my notes, one of the first things I have, hey, look, it's Orvis, parentheses, monkey people.
Monkey people.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But no, so yeah, 2001 was, I said when we first started recording, one of the movies.
The movies.
So I get, well,
And we'll
hey,
sing
Orvis,
that for the
what
next
was with
40 minutes.
Yeah, what was with the literally a 3.5 minute stretch of just darkness. At the beginning of the
Yeah. The beginning, I thought the movie wasn't playing legitimately. It was 2 minutes and 46 seconds of nothing. And
Well,
I
yeah,
was
that's the beginning
Of what?
of everything. That's the beginning of the story. That's where there is nothing, and then
monkey
there is
people?
the story.
Then monkey people.
I don't exactly know why it's as
Maybe
long
they
as it
just
is.
did that because of maybe editing
They
or
kind of.
something.
I think they just.
They accidentally edited out what was supposed to go there and we're out of time.
No,
Just send it. Play it.
honestly, I think it is just to get people in the right focus.
Sort of
it's
confused.
It completely
Movies
missed.
gotta keep you confused in a way. You never know where it's gonna come at you
It
from.
completely missed on you guys because you were sitting and jeering at it the whole time. But if you're seeing this in a full presentation and then all of a sudden it's pitch black and there's just a little bit of sound creeping up, because there was, I don't know if you heard it because you were laughing at how long it was taking. It's supposed to build up this anticipation and this kind of this nothingness that then is going to birth the rest of everything.
Here are my notes on that. The long dark at start, really long. Is this what being born is like? So very dark, still dark. Holy shit, still.
I think
I
it
stare
is.
into the void now. There is only blankness. Fucking finally.
fucking
Yeah,
finally.
I think it is definitely about birthing.
It's about birthing.
Fogel made an. I know
I'm a
you.
motherfucking star boy.
Motherfucking star child.
Star Child.
I know you made notes about the birthdays, Fogel, because it is all about birthdays.
Yeah. Okay. The movie's about birthdays.
It's about
What do we get the Star Child for a birthday gift, guys?
you get him the end of global nuclear war.
Is that what happens?
That's what happens in 2010, the sequel to 2001. I'm not even shitting you.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah,
That's a thing?
It's a sequel film and sequel book, 2010. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Or I think it's like The Odyssey Continues or something.
I think I heard about that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as, like, prolific as 2001, but
Was it made by Kubrick?
No, it was made by somebody else, but the book was also written by Clark, so
Yeah.
it's still...
Still the same, basically.
So, the premise of the film is based upon a short story by Arthur C. Clarke called The Sentinel, in which people find a tetrahedral object buried in the moon, only buried because it had been covered in dust up to then, surrounded in a spherical force field. They find it, and all that it's doing is outputting a radio signal to one of the moons of Saturn. Not Jupiter, one of the moons of Saturn. That's the whole short story, is them finding this and discussing its implications.
That's it?
Yeah, that's the whole short story, essentially.
Okay.
Then Kubrick and Clarke worked to write a screenplay and make the film for 2001, and at the same time, Clarke was writing a full short story, kind of parallel to the film. But there are a bunch of major differences in it that aren't necessarily relevant, but they don't change the meaning. It just changes a lot of the details, like when and where Hal kills people is different, and how he kills them. Like the whole thing in the film is when Dave goes out to retrieve Frank's body as it's floating away, Hal kills the power on the life support systems and just tanks the people in stasis, and then Dave comes back and has to do everything. In the story, Dave, after Hal kills Frank, Dave comes back in, and Hal's trying to explain why Frank's actions were jeopardizing the mission, to which Dave tries to wake up the remaining crew members so that they can help him now that Frank is dead, and Hal refuses, and Dave says if he doesn't do it, he's going to pull the plug on Hal. Hal relents and wakes everybody up, and then blows the airlock and sucks them all out, save for Dave, who happened to be in another room, and gets himself into a spacesuit and unplugs Hal that way. And that's kind of the end of that. And then Dave continues his the journey and the quest out into the... It definitely can feel disjointed if you're not following the through line. It can definitely feel like it's like monkeys, and then doctor scientist, and then astronaut and robot, and then
That's exactly what it
So
is.
here's a question. Here's a question. We get the whole cool thing with the monkey people at the beginning, with Odyssey had a starring role. I actually thought a really nice touch was what all of the monkey people hide, like going to sleep, but they're very clearly told the actors look terrified. Also, there was that scene with the leopard, which that had to be an intense scene to film, because that wasn't like CGI or anything. That was a person in a monkey suit and a leopard, and they got the leopard just to jump on this attack him, and I can't imagine how terrifying it is, even if you're the trainer.
Yeah, it probably is.
The leopard.
Almost certainly is terrifying. It's terrifying whenever you're dealing with wild animals in film.
Big cats,
big dogs.
Freaking! I can't imagine be like, all right, so we got to train this jaguar to jump on you.
It's gonna try and bite your neck. We're gonna train it so it doesn't actually bite your neck, and then it'll probably tumble off you, and then it's gonna attack you again. Just pretend to be dead. Don't worry. It's just a jaguar. It's not like they actually kill human-sized things and actual humans all the time.
The requirements for stuntmen used to be so ridiculous too.
That's insane.
You'd do that, and that would be no sweat off your back, because you're just a stuntman. You're there to get injured.
You're there to die.
Not there to die, but you're there to take the hit for the
if it was in
the good-looking
to
actors.
look like you're gonna die.
Well, if it was in Poltergeist, you might actually die. Like 4 people died on the set of Poltergeist.
Really?
Yeah.
How? Just random
crazy stuff kept happening. Like it's one of those like haunted movies sort of a things. But no, yeah, like 4 people died during the taping of Poltergeist.
Jeez.
Or was it Poltergeist or was it Exorcist?
I don't know.
Correct me in the comments.
I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't care.
So the monolith shows up to the monkey people.
Yep.
And there's the creepy music. my theory about the creepy music in association with the with an association with the monolith is that it was just there to sort of make it feel more alien.
Yeah, it certainly was. The soundtrack is an excellent selection. They had a composer originally in creation of the conception and the development of the film. That's the word. I picked a lot of weird words to explain development.
Sorry, I'm seducing Schmitty right
now. He's taking down his button-down shirt to reveal his charcoal gray American Eagle T-shirt.
I've had this T-shirt for so long.
For like a ridiculous amount of time.
We were sophomores in high school?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, we've relived the past enough.
So hey, you guys hear about Thanos?
The soundtrack selection is very important because they had a composer for the during development, and the score that was written was very much a film score, very much responsive to the action of like what's going on, and that ended up not being the fit that they wanted. They wanted it to feel detached. They wanted it to have. Film score tends to get, without getting real into like the art of music and everything. Film scoring tends to have tends to be programmatic, which means essentially it's made in a way that's attempts to define something else, like a film, like an opera, like a stage production that's programmatic. And you can make programmatic music without an accompanying image, but it almost always has an accompanying story of some kind. What they wanted to do is, instead of having programmatic film music that defined what you were seeing, they wanted to have something completely separated from that had its own meaning and its own beauty, essentially, that you would have to focus on independently of what was happening on screen. That's why you have a lot of shots where there's just the music and no other sound happening, is because it's making you focus on both at the same time without trying to make it like really dense and complicated. It's not like throwing in a movement of a requiem mass in the background of a sad scene in a film. It's like no sound, just that, and it really allows pieces like that to come out. Like Ligeti is a weird ass composer.
Yeah,
it's terrifying and painful, and it's supposed to be. It's not designed to be beautiful. Well, it is beautiful, but it's not designed to be aesthetic. It's designed to make you feel a certain set of emotions, and it definitely fits that when looking at something so otherworldly. Like, imagine if you looked at the monolith and you just heard this big orchestral swell and like just build up to the big horns just blaring a nice huge violin swell, and it sounds epic. That doesn't mean nearly as much as hearing a collection of 40 voices all twist and torment around each other in syllables that you can't quite understand, in pitches that aren't notated or articulated. It's just...
Yeah, it makes it very alien.
Now makes you uneasy.
Exactly.
That's
and I think that is the point. No, but the other thing I really wanted to get to is, hey, did the monolith inspire the monkeys, or was it instructing the monkeys?
Yes, both. The monolith in the book, in the narrative version of 2001, Clark confirms that the monolith is created by an alien race that has transcended physical forms and exist as energy, and they've constructed monoliths to send them to sub-evolved species to progress them into further ages, which is why the monkeys find them.
The precursors. #Halo fans.
Sure. It's why the monkeys find one, and then they find one on the moon, and then they find one
because it's like the
it's bait,
the tipping point to get them to. So is that what happened to Frank? Not Frank. To Dave at the end of the thing. He transcended physical form. He went to he had Star Child.
He went to the next level.
Motherfucking Star Child.
He went to the next level, which
I will say.
Well, actually, sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Well, I was gonna say, in the book, actually, what happens is him touching the monolith transports him across, like literally across, like to another star system, where he like lives in a spaceport, and the building he's in is like an apartment, like a hotel room in this spaceport that he's living in for a while, and then he becomes the Star Child.
Oh my gosh!
Wow,
it's a little more amorphous.
Did he become the Star Child?
Yeah, he is the Star Child.
That
with open eyes.
All right.
Yes, the idea behind and I can't remember because I have not read the book and it was only told to me once a while ago. But there is a line that happens twice. I could look it up maybe. But when the monkeys or the apes first touch the monolith, they have a.
They don't got tails. They ain't monkeys.
They're all monkeys.
All right.
They have a.
Monkeys are monkeys.
There's a line that basically describes the potential that they feel going forward. It has something to do like with seeing space and seeing that the monolith is hollow inside and full of stars or something like that. I could look up the exact line, but that's kind of exact. And at the very end, it's the same thing for Dave as the Star Child, is him looking not at the Earth, looking at the Earth and saying that the Earth is hollow and so full of stars. That's at least I probably am wrong about this because I have not read
Correct us in the comments.
They're not going to because nobody else has read it either. But
fair enough.
I could look it up and get more into it. But it basically the whole idea is that the Star Child is the next like step forward in a way. It's a transcendence of the physical limitations of the universe. Essentially, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's. It's ambiguous deliberately whether or not. It's deliberately ambiguous as to whether or not Dave is now an energy being like an alien, or if he's like actually a giant baby. But he is the boss baby.
So I
He's just boss baby floating
I
around
have
in
written
space.
down here. On a slightly more actual thematic note, I have written down using the bone to smash the skeleton. Like the first thing he gets when he realizes he can use the bone is start using it to smash. Is that man's instinct to destroy. But then the next two lines I have: who's ready to bone down hard? And holy shit, they killed Carrie.
The bone is definitely
Also, so another one of those fantastic cinematic scenes going from the bone to the spaceship. I thought maybe my opinions don't actually matter, but the
None of ours
bone
do,
to the spaceship,
technically.
that technology doesn't matter so much as just the cycle that surrounds it and the point that it's going to get to that point one way or another.
Hey, the spaceship actually kind of looks like a bone.
I think that's all that they were going for.
Is okay.
Sorry, I don't know if you were saying something. I zoned out because I just got a Discord message, but
Wow.
sorry.
Well, no. I'll come. No, it's fine.
I will say my favorite scene in the entire movie was the last scene. I'm sure that's a lot of people's, but the very last scene when he's like looking at himself getting older and older in that room, I was like, that's genius. I really like that.
He's not like interacting with himself. He literally just
He's just looking at himself, and then you see him just getting older and older. I will say, as an overall, not a huge fan of the entire movie. Just weird parts. Like the 10 minutes of shrooms. I now know what shrooms will do to me, and I never want to do them.
Well, imagine
correct us in the comments.
10 minutes messed you up. Imagine what 10 years of it would do.
Yeah.
That's Dave.
Is that why he was having convulsing when he got to the room finally?
Yeah, he'd been traveling through space for
space nut?
decades. And
Just making the
astral
listen,
wonders.
my dad told me that if I make those faces, my face will stick like that. So I don't know how he didn't, but he's like,
yeah. The whole point of that room is that, at least as I can imagine it, is him seeing that is what is eventually going to happen to him if he does not progress. Is that he just gets old and life is mundane. If that's the life for everybody else, you eat dinner, and then you go lay down in a bed until you die, and that's your life.
Oh, was that what that was?
Theoretically, and then he's presented with the opportunity by the monolith to become something next, and he does, and he becomes the motherfucking Star Child.
Wait, does he does he have a choice to go back? Can I be like, hey,
It's
can I
not
go home?
said, but I mean,
I'd be like, hey, multiple choice. Give me like ABC.
Can I go back, please?
I've been turned into a cow. Can I go home?
If
I have one of my notes I have written here. I was like, Schmitty be like, the fuck you mean you don't want cake?
Well, actually, does anyone want cake? No, I'm good. I'm okay. I want cake. I don't know what these fuckers are talking about.
I want cake. I thought that was notable enough to write that down in my notes.
Yeah, it's very deliberate that the spaceship looks like a bone, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the second spaceship or the first spaceship?
What second?
Do you think that the first space?
The second spaceship that has Hal in it.
Yes, that's right. Sorry, I forgot about the whole Dr. Floyd thing.
It's like a space airport.
Yes, not that one. The second one, the one with Hal in it, is meant to look like a bone because it's the next tool that's being used. Theoretically, I mean, I shouldn't say theoretically. It is designed to look like that, to be the connection between, like, the bone is used to make the next step. So now this spacecraft is used to make the next step.
So now my bone will make the next step.
Yeah.
That was really funny though. Like, I remember seeing, I was like, when the monkey man just bashes the other one's face in with the bone.
Yeah.
It's just, I was sitting there thinking, like, man, I really hope he just like smacks his fucking face in with that bone. It goes, yeet!
Yeah. Well, he does this nasty sidestep first. Just swoop, bam.
Yeah.
Rip Jerry. He lived a good and aggressive life.
Also, incapable of error for Hal.
Yeah.
Hey, why did Hal do it?
Why did Hal do it?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of speculations. They actually apparently had a reason for Hal messing up, and then they decided purposely to omit it from the script because they didn't want to explain it. They wanted to just, like, it kind of doesn't matter why Hal did it. In the book, Hal is, what's the word?
Right?
No, Hal's not right. Also with
the mad computer Hal.
Hal did nothing wrong.
In the book too, it's not. In the book, it is the home base that tells them to deactivate Hal, as opposed to them coming up with the idea. And Hal tries to encourage them not to do it. It's hinted that he's like, what did I read about this? That he was like nervous that something was going to go wrong, so that he saw something going wrong that wasn't going to go wrong, and then because he is a machine, he got a little paranoid about it, and then because he's a machine that has no error, he couldn't detect it as an error, and then he only acted in self-defense because he was going to be shut off if he didn't.
Because the way I noticed it is right. So Hal and Dave are having that conversation, and Hal's okay. So Hal says you didn't hear any of the strange rumors about stuff on the moon, and Hal actually knows the message.
Yeah, Hal's the only one who knows the whole thing.
Hal knows the message, and Dave's like, "Nah, I really don't mind it." And then Hal's like,
That's it. No, sorry. From what I read, Hal was supposed to feel guilty for not being able to tell Dave and Frank what he knows. Like, he's not allowed to tell them until they get there, and he feels guilty about it. So
he kills everyone?
No, so he tries to shut off the communication back with Earth so he can tell them, but then Earth tells them to shut him down, and then they enact on that, and Hal acts in self-defense to preserve himself because he's a machine. He has no idea that when he gets turned off, he can be turned back on again. He has no concept of, like, my consciousness shuts off, and then it'll come back on later when I'm no longer endangering people. So the idea for him being turned off is like, they're gonna kill me. I have to protect me because I am Hal and I am also self-aware.
Me and you, Schmidt, we started cracking up with that scene where they actually killed Frank. Because like he goes out there to fix the thing or whatever, and then you just see, and the arms open up wider, and it's like experience tranquility.
Experience tranquility.
And then the next thing you see, it's just Frank going tumbling off into space.
Oh shit!
Pass into the iris.
Pass into the.
That's another sentient robot.
Yeah. Okay. There's no easy way we're getting into this. What about Game of Thrones?
Well, I was coming up with a clever thing to do. Well, I'm not sure. Hold on. The only other thing I noticed, and I could be wrong. Well, that's a good comment. I could have totally seen, like, I was actually really expecting to see, like, there's the faces where he, Dave's face keeps popping up when he's going through the space nut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's like bringing all these pain faces,
which it is also deliberate. All of the like conception imagery.
Yeah,
that's all on purpose as well.
I hope so.
It's all about birth.
No. I get they were just make weird faces. Let's just stick them in there real quick.
You got the weird spermy things going into the weird circular objects. Producing Star Child. It's all deliberate. It's not like, it happens to look a little spermy.
No, that looks a little.
No, it's
like,
a tadpole.
Fuck.
It's on purpose.
No, but I was really expecting to be like, see Ben Stiller in like blue steel.
Yeah, he's finally perfected Magnum.
Yeah. And then the other thing.
That's a Buck Wild series.
What?
The whole Zoolander thing, that's whack.
It's funny. What do you mean you never lost your friend's spontaneous gasoline fight?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, 2000. I like it a lot. I like it a lot more now that I like it more than now that I'm able to actually watch it.
I can imagine watching that with like Hunter around.
Yeah, there was a lot of. It was also late.
Yeah, let me know that. I can imagine watching that with some of our friends from school around.
Yes, it was late and nobody wanted to be there, and everybody was still. That was like the second movie we watched for honors, wow. So we hadn't yet gotten into the mindset of these are going to be a little bit weird, so just roll with it because there's actually really cool stuff in here if you're willing to think about it.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. I liked it. I would have to be convinced to watch it again. If someone said they were like, hey, what is 2001: A Space Odyssey? I would probably watch it with them, but I would not suggest, hey guys, let's watch 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I think
no, it's not a party movie. It's not. It's not something you sit down.
Don't sit around and get scared for an hour.
No, it's not.
But like existentially scared, not like a scary game.
No, get existentially.
Not like Boo. It's more just like
get our
think
beans
about
freaked.
Things.
I don't want to do that. I was just thinking about how much I hate myself.
I did not get my permission slip to go on this fields trip.
Exactly.
Definitely did not get that signed.
I'm not like it's not a like everybody get happy film, but it's definitely a good one to make you think about things.
It's interesting. I will say this is probably attributed to my millennialism. It was mostly boring to me. Like,
yeah,
it was
there's a lot of dead time.
There's tons of scenes that I was like, this could have ended probably about 3 minutes ago, and I'm
definitely
super
slow,
uninterested
but
right now.
I see getting to the end of it, like both times I've seen it, watching through it, I think this is getting kind of slow. This is getting kind of, and then I get to the end of it, I'm like,
that in itself is part of it.
Well, I get to the end of it, I'm like, that wasn't slow at all. Like everything feels like it happened just as it had to happen.
Yeah, I
didn't feel bored by the end of it.
I think that's attributed. I guess me personally, I think that's attributed to most like movies nowadays that I watch, and I'm not a big movie guy, but like things nowadays, it's very like in your face, constant things have to be happening. Like otherwise, I just like lose attention. I have a short attention span, whatever. So it's like I guess when it comes to stuff like that, or maybe it's because I didn't understand what was going on totally. Like I don't know. It was slightly boring at parts.
Yeah, no,
there were parts where I was like, I couldn't deal without this.
Yeah, people are like that. And I mean, it's a different style of film, and again, it's not designed for casual viewing. It's designed to be.
It's not like, hey guys, let's drink a lot and watch 2001: A Space Odyssey.
No, that would not be.
Let's not.
It's designed to be thought about, talked about, and studied. It's not designed to be casually and humorously ingested, which is an interesting decision for this podcast, which is supposed to be humorous.
Excellent point.
And is failing to be so every episode we've recorded thus far.
I thought we had some good jokes.
The first episode, hilarious. Second episode, hilarious. I haven't listened to the third episode, but I feel like we didn't make
Well, you gotta stop saying it like that, because no, this is the second episode.
Don't worry, we'll get Dave back when we break the Trident of Poseidon.
Keep making callbacks to these episodes.
We're seeing that movie in theaters. We are. Opening night, boys.
Wait, is there an actual Pirates movie in production?
I don't know. If it is, we're going to see it.
We will go to see it if there is a Pirates movie in production.
They broke all the curses.
Davy Jones is not a curse.
There's no more movies.
He is. That was the whole point of that.
He's stronger than Poseidon.
Guys.
Davy Jones is a god.
Ba, ba, ba.
Dun 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 dun.
All right, that was a good pause.
Anyway, so anyways, Game of Thrones episodes 3 and 4. Now let's actually get to it. Now let's get to the notes. So we start off with let me go. According to my notes, the Starks arriving in Kong's Lansing.
Do you have spell check?
I do, but I'm trying to get these down so quickly so I don't miss anything that it's out of King's Landing to Kong's Lansing.
Do you have
Kong's Lansing? Kong's got a big boil. Let's get rid of that sucker. Down at Kong's Lansing.
So we start off with that, and Ned is immediately summoned, or as I have written here, meditatively summoned.
Yeah.
And so you get the whole thing, and then there's the...
I don't like the king.
Yeah.
Don't like him.
The king?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually kind of hate him. He's kind of an awful person.
Yes. Yeah, but he's not motivated by political means, and that's
He's
sort of why the
motivated by sex, drugs, and women.
Yes.
That's his whole life.
When talking
And rock
about
and roll.
Game of Thrones, you got to understand that when you get the line in episode 4 when Joel is like, the common people really don't care the games of the High Lords. They want health and a summer that never ends,
prosperity, and
yeah.
summer that never
they
ends.
just kind of want to be left to their own devices. And the thing about King Robert is he's not politically motivated enough, except for against Targaryens, to do anything to do anything stupid like raise his own cities or something like that. And so that's why a lot of the kingdom just sort of deals with Robert as the piece of crap that he is, because
the king he is succeeding was so much worse.
Yeah,
having an idiot,
the Mad King Thanos.
that.
Sorry, whoops, that one slipped out.
having an idiot king is far better to having a tyrannical king who's gonna kill everybody.
And then so you get that, and that leads into the whole section when there's another sort of verbal showdown between Ned and Jaime Lannister. And it's going, there's some good little witty one-liners in there that they have against each other, and then Ned's like, yeah, and what were his last words? And then Jaime goes, I believe he just kept repeating the same thing over and over again for hours. And then I was like, yeah, what was it? He's like, burn them all. And that's the first one where you're like, huh.
I think you mean Robert.
What?
Ned doesn't talk to Jaime about that. It's Robert who's talking to Jaime.
Oh, wow, you're right. Yeah, sorry. Which I remember when I first saw that, I thought, wow, that's actually kind of foreboding and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm getting... The foreshadowing's a little bit heavy. There's a 3-eyed crow sitting on the head of a wolf. I wonder what that's supposed to mean. Crows mean death. Ravens and crows mean death.
Oh, that's not what the 3-eyed raven means.
Okay, well, they almost always do. And sitting on top of a wolf's
Crows,
head.
yes. That's not ravens. Different Corvid. Corvus Corax and Corvus Branker-Heinkus are different things.
Except, regardless of what it means...
Was it a raven or a crow?
It was a raven.
Oh. No, it wasn't. It was a crow.
Regardless...
Actually, in the books, it's a crow. In the series, it's a raven.
Eat my dick.
Regardless of what it means, I know how the first season ends, so it does mean exactly what I think it means. So...
well...
Hammer smack...
I don't know spoilers.
It's okay. We're not spoiling it yet. I'm not explaining it. And, yeah.
Well, I mean, all right. So you get that, and I remember the first time I saw that sequence too, I was like, wait, he can't walk. And there was a dream. It was like, oh, yeah, he can't walk.
Yeah.
We meet Hodor, too.
Yeah.
Hodor.
Fine. I've heard for years about Hodor, and I never knew who he was. So now I know.
So we get the first council meeting, too.
Honestly, that's the biggest thing in Game of Thrones I want to find out.
What?
Like that's like the one scene I have not had spoiled for me.
Hodor?
The whole Hodor stuff.
Okay.
Hodor.
Yeah, it's.
I have not. That's the one thing I've been holding out on because I imagine that will have the biggest impact on me.
It actually has a lot of payoff to it. It has a ton of payoff.
That's why I've been holding off.
So we get the first council meeting, and that actually reveals something. And if you notice, when King Robert rolled up, King Robert is a Baratheon, which means his sigil is the stag. But when he rolled up in Winterfell, all his, the banners or everything, they were all Lannister. Like, it was all Lannister stuff. And that makes sense when you realize, oh, he owes everything in the kingdom to the Lannisters. Like, he said they're like a couple million gold pieces in debt to the Lannisters.
Yeah.
And so that's another reason why Robert is just like...
But that also puts him kind of in a rough position because he can't just deal with the issues at hand. One of the big concerns I have is Robert knows how awful his family is. He knows how terrible Cersei is and how terrible Joffrey is and how slimy Jaime can be.
Did you see them sitting there at the joust? It looked so sad.
Everybody,
that's the point.
He knows that nobody in his family likes him, and he doesn't like any of them. And he knows that there's going to be issues that they cause down the line, but he can't do anything about it because he owes their daddy money.
Yeah.
Because he is terrible at money.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how money works.
That's the thing. He was a warrior. He never really wanted to be king, and once he got he took the throne, and then it was like, wow, this is horrible.
I also wouldn't be surprised if it was kind of a I don't want to say a Lannister plot, but if it was kind of like a manipulation to convince him that he didn't have to worry about spending money, so that he spends so much that he's indebted to them and therefore can't do anything about them getting close to the throne.
Oh, that's a clever idea. That's a
fair enough.
It's a very clever to think about, Orvis. We get that terrible scene. We start to see why Joffrey, or as I have written here, Jeff, is such a terrible person. It's because his mother is the most terrible person.
Oh, she's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, she looks kind of pretty, but the whole fucking your brother thing, not so good.
they were twins too.
Yeah, that's even worse.
I was not talking into the mic there.
How is that worse? I'm curious. What is it?
In my mind, yeah, your brother and sister. Now you came out at the same time of your mother, and it makes it just a tiny bit worse.
Okay, the intimacy makes it okay.
You grew up together.
I'm not
you're
saying
very
it's
close
not,
together.
I'm not saying
Very, very, very close.
Very, very, very close together.
I'm not saying it doesn't carry gross connotations. I'm just wondering why the time delay between births somehow makes it more gross. But.
Well, if a brother and sister are 10 years apart, and it's still disgusting, but if it's like, oh no, we were the same age all the time, grew up together,
I don't understand it, but
it's not worse by a large margin. It's still kind of worse though. Large margin.
My next D&D character. Well, and then we get there's a part where Bran's sitting there, and old Nan, who's that maid, was telling him scary stories about the long night.
Well, how do you keep getting in here?
Yeah, no, pretty much. I really want to see it. I was kind of wishing, you get, who is it? Rob Stark opens the door and goes, how'd you get in here? Chases her out with a broom or something. Get.
Am I the only one who thinks Jon Snow looks like the younger Jonas brother?
Yes. He looks like
That's all I can see.
Nick
Jonas.
Yeah, he looks like. Yeah.
Yes. He does. It's the hair.
It's partially the hair, but it's also the bone structure. It's his face.
Yeah, he's a pretty boy.
He's got a Jonas face.
Yeah. Bet you can sing.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of actors can sing.
And you get actually a really good point too. Sorry, I'm trying to go through my notes and see.
It's okay. I'm focusing on making goofs.
John is totally kicking ass and not making any friends at training at the wall, and because all the people are getting mad because he keeps kicking their ass, and then
John's the best,
and Tyrion's like, hey, maybe you should be nice to them and help them out, and they might like you a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of hey, show some. Going into this, I expected and knew that Tyrion was going to be one of my favorite characters just because of the intricacy of what he has to go through. He is a tremendous dick, but he has respect for the people who
Were you talking about how he says he has a big dick?
Partially, yeah.
That's what I thought you said.
I thought
you said he has a tremendous dick.
I said he is, but that too.
We do never get to see the Dinkle dick.
I hope not.
No. Why? It's tremendous.
It's tremendous. The one blessing the gods gave him, Schmitty.
No, but he still kind of understands why people why people do what they do. It's an intelligence, but it has almost a, I don't want to say a hidden empathy to it because that makes him sound like he's a good person, and we've at episode 4 have not learned that he is a good person. So, but we see that he is kind to the people that he respects, like Jon and now crippled Bran, because he
makes the saddle.
He relates to them.
He takes his own time to design a saddle for a paraplegic to ride. Yeah, not a paraplegic. Paraplegic
counts.
Yeah, okay.
And he cares less about. He's like the Percy. He's the only person who.
Okay.
He's the only person who really truly understands. It's a critical role thing. He's the only person who truly understands how awful nobility can be, because he is one, and he knows how much they suck. And
because he, even though he is one, he's also the least of them.
Well, yeah, he's the least of them, but he's still respected by the people who aren't nobility because they have to respect him. But he knows that their respect means nothing because he sees the respect that goes to people that get the respect that aren't deserving of it. Just like he's kind of outside of this whole feudal system because he knows that it's all just baloney.
He has like an outside of the box perspective while he's inside of the box.
Yes, he is the outside but pressed right up against the box.
Yeah.
So, and you get Daenerys, who is now thoroughly in love with her husband.
Okay, I got it in this episode. It's not Stockholm Syndrome. It's actually the opposite. The Stockholm Syndrome that she has is against her brother, because she hates him, as she rightfully should.
Yeah.
He is just awful. But now she has power to do something about that.
Okay.
She's in the position where... I'm not saying there isn't some form of...
You had to get Stockholm to lose Stockholm. I see what you're saying.
Maybe. It's definitely... She's accepting her new position here as this is the only way things are going to get better for me, because now I actually have the control to take...
Yeah.
I have the ability to take control of my life and not be told by anybody, because I'm now...
Khaleesi.
She gains some confidence in herself. She gains some self-confidence,
exactly.
really.
And she's at the point where she's... I don't want to say, because we haven't seen too much of her and Drogo actually in non-intimate relationships, but it seems like
we'll get there.
It seems like they're definitely at a position where they're not like where it isn't like a
captive. And
it definitely doesn't feel like that anymore. And that probably is with the Stockholm idea, but it definitely seems like now you have given me an opportunity to take control of who I am from you. I'm like, you're telling me how to dress, all this stuff. Not anymore. Now, if you hit me again, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
That's it, because I can. And you've made the mistake of giving me that power.
And it is honestly already you see her first character arc of her gaining this confidence. It happens quickly, but I do think they still show all of these really important steps in it, and it's not just an overnight on-off switch. It is you do see her. I mean, they're having to balance a lot of information, a lot of characters, but you do see her go from this completely sort of quivering, emotionless, like animal in front of her brother to being able to stand up to him a little bit, to being able to outright threaten his life.
They're both thrown out of their comfort zone. They're both in positions where the only power and weight they have is with the people that are allied to their name. And because of the way that this system is built up, that means nothing to her. That means only to her brother. But now that Khaleesi has a lot more power than honestly, Khaleesi seems to have a lot more power than Queen. Like, Khaleesi seems to be far more in charge of things that are definitely, like, she can get more things done.
She's much more respected.
Yeah, she can get things done. She's not just the Drogo's wife. She's Khaleesi. She's her own power, and you're gonna listen to that. And this 4 is, I think, her starting to understand that like, even in 3, where he falls off of, or he chases her down on a horse and like tries to beat the shit out of her, and he gets whipped around the neck and almost killed, and she's like, don't kill my brother. That I think transitions into now he's coming to her even angry again, and he slaps her, and then she beats him in the head with a gold necklace, which knocks him like nearly unconscious.
Which must have hit him pretty freaking hard.
Well, it does. You see those rings are like an inch across, and they're thick too. Gold is heavy.
Also, and I'm sure that hurt a lot, but it also probably scared him.
Yeah,
and you get to see him for sort of the coward that he really is.
Yeah, but he doesn't strike me as a coward as much as he strikes me as an idiot.
An idiot.
He's gonna press that.
A savage animal idiot.
No, he's gonna press that far more than
he has the room.
Then he has the room to press it. He's gonna press it, and it's gonna get him killed, and that's gonna be it. I don't know where it's going, but he dies.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I remember this from watching the first season.
I'm certain he doesn't last long.
I remember what happens.
Yeah, you can see he doesn't have much room, and he keeps losing it.
Yeah,
like the fact that, like, when they said when the one Dothraki was like, "No, you walk." That's like saying, you're like a slave now.
It's like,
you're not saying, like, bitch.
Yeah, and it's like the Dothraki are a horse people. They ride horses, and if you're not riding a horse, you ain't a horse person, which means you in this society
you're a foot person.
Yeah. Are you horse people or are you foot people?
Yeah.
I guess they really like horses.
We should watch Berserk after this first season.
Yeah. How long is Berserk?
It's 24 episodes.
How long? Its episodes what, like a half hour?
22 minutes. You can fit 3 episodes in an hour.
Are we gonna have to watch the new season of Berserk?
No.
The new series?
we'll stop at the eclipse and then we'll.
I kind of know everything goes.
I do not
super
want to watch the new Berserk.
Everybody
so
dunks on it. Everybody dunks on it. It's got bad parts, but it's still Berserk. I'm still gonna love it until I die.
It looks so bad.
So also, there's all the stuff with Sir Hugh that happens this episode. And
the dude that dies?
All right, what?
He
was the knight who got dethroated.
Dethroated.
And if you didn't catch up on it, because I know Orvis is like, oh, I see what happened.
I think I got it, but then I didn't know how. I don't think I saw how Sir Hugh fit into it. But
so talking about John, Ned's on this essentially side quest at this moment to figure out what happened to John.
I don't know what you mean side quest. It seems like the main quest.
His main quest is to be Hand of the King. Side quest, figure out what happened to John Aaron.
Yeah, main quest is balance the budget. Side quest is
I was just
don't
thinking,
get murdered.
I feel like the side quests are actually do your job, and the main quest is
don't
fuck
die.
off.
Yeah. All right. So we found out John Aaron had a squire, Sir Hugh. Sir Hugh was knighted almost immediately for no real reason after John Aaron's death by Cersei.
Cersei is
The wife of King Robert.
cool.
And then you get to the
Names,
point.
bro. Names, not.
There's a lot of names.
There's a lot of names.
You get them.
I'm on top of them.
Yeah. And then Ned's going around and he's trying to retrace John Aaron's last steps. He gets the book and he's...
John Aaron was the Hand of the King, right?
John Aaron was the previous Hand of the King. We haven't actually seen John Aaron alive because he dead at the
That
start
was
of
the
series.
first, episode, right?
Yeah.
That dude that was dead, that's John
Yeah.
Aaron? Okay,
and remember,
just making sure.
Jaime and Cersei were talking about whatever John Aaron knew or didn't know. So then we talk about... We go to the blacksmith. His name's Gendry, if you didn't catch that.
Yes, got that. I didn't remember it, but I caught it.
And Ned is asking him what did John Aaron ask you? And he's like, he just asked me about my mother. And he's like, what kind of questions about your mother? And he says very clearly, he asked what color was her hair. And he's like, she had yellow hair. And at that point, Ned looks very, very closely at Gendry and puts together that his mother had yellow hair, his father is the king, and he has black hair and looks very similar. And he also has a book with a line of all the lineages and physical descriptions of what all the lords were.
Cool.
Okay.
I was trying to give Schmitty the pieces that we have to see if he can put it together at this point, but I don't think he's
I still don't exactly see how how Sir Hugh fits into the chunk. Because all I know about Sir Hugh...
Ned suspected that John Aaron might have been poisoned.
Yes, I know.
John Aaron had an affair with, what's her face?
No.
That's what I thought immediately.
Cersei, that's her name?
Yeah.
Cersei? No? It's not it?
No, because... No.
Okay.
This is hard for me because...
Just tell me.
I don't want to... All right, fine. No. John Aaron figured out with the book that all of the children are not the king's children. They're all the children between Cersei and Jaime. The 3 children that they have are incestuous, and he figured that out because he figured out who Robert's bastards were in this city, and he made the connection between their hair color and who his parents were. He got that book, and he figured out that
that Joffrey
couldn't be blonde. And so he was going to go to the king with that information. And so Cersei paid Sir Hugh a ton of money to poison John Aaron.
And then just offered to knight him, honestly, and then probably hired the Mountain to kill him.
That is absolutely what happened. Yeah. The Mountain killed him in the tournament, so that's another person who knew something no longer knows.
So Jaime and Cersei have 3 kids.
Yes.
Or whatever.
They have Joffrey, Tormund, and Marcella.
Have we been introduced to the other?
We've been introduced to Joffrey, Marcella, and Tormund were in a single shot.
They're little.
They each become important plot points later in the series.
Gotcha. So Joffrey is not Robert's kid.
Which makes him not the rightful heir to the throne.
But that's not going to mean anything.
Which makes who not the rightful heir to the throne?
Joffrey.
Oh, yeah, that's
Joffrey's
right.
not the heir to the throne because he is an incestuous bastard.
Why is Robert okay with that?
He doesn't know. John Aaron was going to tell him and then was poisoned.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, this show is all about information. It's all about keeping that straight. Which is why I almost like Berserk better, because it's all about information that lasts as long as Guts' sword is. And under information means nothing.
And then, okay.
Gotcha.
Because all this political footsie is I don't want to say it's not boring. It's definitely intriguing. It's just in a lot of context for me, it gets real tedious. It's like, all right, we're just gonna dance here, then we're gonna dance here, then we're gonna dance here, and we're gonna step here, and then somebody's gonna die.
It's the Game of Thrones.
I know. I'm tracking that. I'm understanding that it's the Game of Thrones. It doesn't mean that it adds anything to me.
Don't worry. The next season is a Clash of Kings. So, at least that's the book that the second season based off of. And then finally, to wrap up this sort of set of 2 episodes, we get Samwell's introduced.
Yeah.
And everyone insults him because he's fat and weakling and scared of everything.
And blind.
And they kick the shit out of him. And they really, really beat the shit out of him. They really go, and he just sits there and goes, "Stop, please!" And Sir Thorne's like, "No, hit him harder." Yeah.
Well, he's
as that's
noble
happening,
son.
Horrible flashbacks to 6th grade.
No, that's what I was thinking the whole time. You curling up on the ground and everyone poking you.
The teachers are like, fuck that kid.
And then so Jon, probably very much remembering the words of Tyrion, is like worried this. Well, and also because he gets Sam's backstory and realize that, this guy doesn't have a place in the world. It's not fair that he comes here and we just kick the shit out of him for 10 hours a day and then do it the next time tomorrow.
Yeah, Jon recognizes that it's tempting to see Sam's like choices as cowardly, but it's not cowardly when the other option is to die. You're not and to die in a way in which it isn't like memorable and isn't in defense of something. You're gonna be basically, his dad's like, we're just gonna kill you in the woods and then nobody's ever gonna know, and that's it.
Sounds like quite literally the worst father ever.
Oh, he is. We'll get to
he becomes a character?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then finally, there's one more conversation between Cersei and Ned, and then there's a scene where, according to my notes, Tyrion gets captured by Catelyn.
Tyrion, yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrion.
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 I literally did not know what you meant there.
I didn't either.
I'm just trying to get... The names are so complicated. I don't know how to spell them. I'm just trying to get enough information down that I can decipher it.
And
for this.
that is going to be the most detrimental step to the entire process of trying to figure out and convict the Lannisters of the assassination of Jon Arryn.
Yeah. But no, there's a whole scene where Tyrion sees Lady Catelyn's like, "Oh, Lady Catelyn, how are you? I miss you at Winterfell." Lady Stark. And she gets up and starts giving this inspiring speech, and Tyrion's smiling, and then he's like, "Okay, why are you doing this?" She's like, "Arrest that man."
He's like,
I'm in danger.
Yeah, I stepped into the wrong bar.
Guess I won't be taking a room here. Here, bud. Can I have that silver coin back, please?
Oh, and there's he gives the one cutthroat the coin, who's like, "Oh, you can have my room." Yep. That's Brom. Brom is best boy. He's a Lannister employee of the month every month.
Employee of the month.
And that sort of wraps up the media we watched. But in other news, I finally beat the Demon Prince. Oh, that's
in more important news.
Man, I feel much better about my life now.
You must have still not as big as when you beat the Nameless King, though.
No, the Nameless King, I nearly lost consciousness after
I didn't, surprisingly.
It was a very hard battle for me.
Yeah.
And it was at the end of like a 2-hour session of me throwing myself at him.
Explained it, you're like, I know you're gonna hate this chair in editing. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, it's not your fault.
The way you explained it, you were like, "Oh, I beat it. No, I can't die yet. Not now."
I finally beat the Nameless King. That was a hard fight for me.
Yeah, For me, it wasn't. It was hard.
You literally gave up fighting him for 8 months.
I did. But then I started again, fought him once and lost, fought him the second time and then won.
Yeah.
And, and then I literally just took a picture of it and sent it to Fogels like, I beat the Nameless King. And then I played Overwatch for the rest of the night. And that was me beating it.
Beat the Nameless King? All right.
I gotta play Overwatch again. I haven't played Overwatch in a minute.
A lot of changes.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't played Overwatch in like months.
Schmitty, you have missed 3 heroes.
Yeah, I've missed 3 heroes in like 5 seasons.
They're not done with it yet. They haven't put it out yet.
Oh, okay.
They're changing her from a support hero to a defense hero.
Really?
Yeah, because she is not a support hero.
No, she's not. She never was.
They're changing her to a defense hero. They're changing the ideas that they have announced that they're playing with are that her beam is not going to lock on anymore. It's going to do more damage, and it's going to scale slower, but it's going to scale higher. Like the longer you fire it, the more damage it does, but it scales slower than it does now, and it doesn't auto lock. Her photon barrier is going to be her alt, and it's going to be an immovable wall with 5,000 damage that spans the entire length of whatever geometry it's within. So it's basically like you put a wall there and nobody's moving through it.
Gotcha.
And there's some other stuff that you mentioned. Her turrets are going to be able to be
they're like shooting
projected. Yeah, you're going to be able to like throw them at objects, and they're going to have like 10 hit points, so they actually take a little bit of damage to kill. You can't just like breathe on them and then they're gone. They're going to I think they said she can only put 3 of them out, and they do an increased damage and an increased slowing, but there's only 3 turrets, so they're adjusting her, trying to make it fit in. But I already have so many problems with fighting Symmetras because I can't. The hitbox on Sim is so small, and it's very difficult to hit. So, and I'm not saying that it needs to be bigger, but she has a lot of evasive abilities to get away from me trying to basically throw a photon barrier and then run at me. I'm done. I might as well just die. I'm done. Because by the time I get position on her, she's charged enough of her beam to just like suck me dry with Giga Drain.
Suck me dry.
Giga Drain. Oh jeez.
How long's recording at this point?
My guess is 120, but let's see. 114.
All right, so that seems well, thank you for joining us for this episode.
The second episode, not the fourth. Not the fourth. I'm not wrong about that.
Don't forget about that once we get the try to decide and break all the curses. And we'll see you next week. Hopefully
for something.
We discuss. We'll have to start discussing this before, so we can announce it after, or maybe you can decide in any post. Anyways, thanks for joining us.
This pop filter makes me feel like a rap artist.
A rapper.
Makes me feel like a rapper.
All right, we're done.
Dun 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 dun.